Hey everyone, I'm Liz Hunt.
And I'm Chelsea Poppins.
And this is the Agency Rocket Show, where we discuss the chaos of running a creative agency.
And today we have an expert in influencer marketing, Elizabeth Petersen. Her and I actually grew up together in small town Iowa, so we go way back. Very happy to have you on here today.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
So to kick us off, can you give us a little bit of your background and how you got into influencer marketing and what drives your role today?
Yeah, certainly. So I fell into an internship after college, or actually the last semester before I graduated out in New York City. It was a small boutique influencer marketing agency. At the time, influencer marketing was just starting. You know, there wasn't TikTok. There weren't as many influencers as you see today, but it was one of the very first boutique influencer marketing agencies that I had heard of. So I had an internship there during college, and then after college was offered a full-time job. So I moved out to New York City, worked in influencer marketing for about 2 years. And then I bounced around to a few other larger, more traditional type of advertising agencies. So did radio, TV, commercials, email marketing. So more traditional, old school, if you will, but really gained a lot of experience in understanding how all these different areas work together to essentially promote a brand. And then after about 3 years working in more traditional marketing, I found my current company that is more influencer marketing again. So I am fully doing that now. I've been there for about 4.5 years and really, really enjoy it. During 2020, when TikTok took off like crazy, all of the agencies really exploded and grew a lot more, and there were more that came to be. So I think the industry as a whole has grown. And then also with the introduction of NIL in the past couple of years, that has taken on a new identity as well, as far as what athletes can now do to be influencers. So that's a whole other conversation, but that's a little bit about me and how I got to where I am now.
Can you, maybe for some of our listeners who don't know how influencer marketing works or what it is, could you maybe give a brief description of what influencer marketing really is?
Yeah, certainly. So how a brand operates is they'll have a media budget, right? This media marketing budget could go to TV, radio, print ads, whatever it is. When social media started and then influencer marketing started, brands started putting their media dollars towards influencers. So these influencers operate as essentially their own little company that have a huge following. So brands will pay the influencers to promote their product or service on their social media. Say, for example, an influencer has a following of 1 million people, so they're reaching that audience. Now we can get into the minutia of how many people they're actually reaching from that native audience, but putting paid behind it is another strategy for getting it there. So that's really what it is. It's brands paying money to have their product or service promoted on the page of the influencer.
Mm-hmm. On social media specifically, right? With the influencer?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all different formats, video, photos, many different ways to get creative with that.
So the other piece of it is current companies want to get outside of their current reach of following their audience. So in order to do that, they have to have access to these influencers platforms that with 1 million followers. I don't have that, but I mean, it's a really cool way for businesses to at least extend their brand awareness and expand on the things that they're wanting to advertise for.
Definitely. And it also makes a lot of sense for brands when they have a new product launching or it's a season where they're getting the most business to lean into influencers during that time to promote the brand or the product or service.
How important is it to match your company with the right influencer?
Very important. So first of all, the brand needs to understand who their target market is, right? So they need to understand who is actually using this, who's buying it, who's visiting this place, what have you. And then finding an influencer that aligns with that target market. So maybe it's a mom in the Midwest, typically has a household income of 100,000, 3 kids, and they get really narrow into this identity. And then from there, we can work backwards to find an influencer that fits that persona. But more important than the influencer influencer fitting the persona is their audience. So there are tools out there that can analyze the influencer's audience to make sure that they also align with it. So maybe you'll see this a lot, like a male athlete, and you would assume his following is all males, athletes, and that might not be the case, right? It might be a lot of females, or it might be like
girls like abs too.
Yeah,
yeah. Exactly. Like, maybe it's a thirst trap type situation. So that's true.
Differentiating between the influencer actually matching the brand and then their audience matching the brand is two different things. So we take all that into account when we're looking for the perfect influencer to share this message. But along with that, you want to make sure that the influencer is able to share the message in an authentic way. So if it's a candle company and the mom like never uses candles or never posts about it or never posts about her home, she wouldn't be someone that would do it authentically. You want to take away screaming advertising and it to really feel like this authentic piece of content living on their feed.
I love that.
Interesting. Yeah. What about the difference? I've heard a lot of conversations around micro versus macro influencers, and I've heard there's some conversations around a lot of brands wanting to switch to more of the micro influencers and doing a lot more of those rather than hitting a lot of those macro influencers. So could you maybe talk about some of that and if what I just said was even true?
Yeah.
Maybe I've heard wrong. I don't know. Maybe speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So beyond just the following size of an influencer being important, we also really want to look at their engagement. The engagement that the audience is giving. So are they commenting on it? Are they actually clicking through the links that the influencer posts? Are they watching the video in full or scrolling right past it? So there are ways to calculate the engagement that the audience is actually doing. And I think the beauty of a micro influencer is that they tend to have a very highly engaged audience. People that follow them really buy into everything they're using, everything they're talking about. So they can have a higher engagement rate than an influencer with millions of followers. And maybe no one is actually caring what they're doing. They care about other things that's special to this person. So that is one consideration. And then when you're working with a really niche product, so say, for example, a book launch, right? You would want to only work with creators that could share the message of this book in a really authentic way. So that's also when micro influencers might be the better fit because you're able to hone in more closely to what that is. They're not reaching the masses with a generalized tone, but they have a certain niche that's able to align with. So it does vary brand to brand. Also, budget is a consideration. Someone with 1 million followers is going to be much more expensive for one post than someone with 10,000. So there are many considerations, but I think the engagement of the micro influencer is really special. And that should be highly considered when selecting the right person to promote the brand.
When you're talking about budgets, I guess, could you give us an estimate or an example of what a micro influencer rate might be versus a macro influencer cost?
Yeah, definitely. This is when negotiation skills are very important when working with influencers and management. Once creators really take off in their careers, most of them will find a manager or management company to help along with these negotiations. So their rates will also go up because now they're paying a percentage back to their manager. Whereas if they stay small, they never get management, then that won't be the case. I would say, generally speaking, I have all these ranges mapped out, but someone with 1 million followers might charge between 10 and 20,000 for one single TikTok video. Someone that has 10,000 to 50,000, you may get them in between 500 to 1,000 for the TikTok video, but it really varies, and I think that is an area that brands typically need the most education in is understanding the fees that come along with getting influencers, right? They think it's like, oh, these budgets are crazy that we have to pay, but a lot goes into it. And then also ad hoc fees. So that's if you're shipping product to them, if you need them to take a trip somewhere, a lot of different budget considerations.
Yeah. What about what everyone always talks about? Like, can't I just ship them a free sample and they'll review it for me on their platform? Does that even work anymore?
Or does everyone loves that idea? Brands are like, it's amazing. And we're like, we know, but this is their job. Most of them, they don't have another job. So they really depend on the income that these posts are able to get them.
Yeah.
And also when the following size get up there, they have requests every day from different brands and products that are willing to pay them a significant amount to share it. So it's competitive in that way. Like if they have 2 deals on the table and say it's a competing product, so it's like 2 different soda brands or something like that. They're going to go with the higher fee and stay exclusive to that brand versus the lower one. So that's when brands are competing for this influencer. And then you also get into the exclusivity rates, usage rates, all of that, which spike their fees even higher. So that would be a brand paying the influencer thousands of dollars extra to not promote any other competitor of theirs for a set amount of time.
Yeah. Are you seeing a lot more of this done on TikTok or Instagram, or is this often across all platforms?
Yeah, I think they are across all platforms. The post format is mainly video now. So most brands are interested in having a video created for their product and showcasing it versus a photo, like short form video spread TikTok and then Reels and then YouTube Shorts. So all of these different platforms have taken it on. So I would say that yes, across all platforms, but video format is the highest performing.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
So when people, purchase, post from that, post reels from that social media, are you seeing that they are siloed into like just one platform, or do they usually utilize kind of like a package across multiple platforms when they create these marketing campaigns?
I think I'm going to answer this correctly. Typically, we'll see that an influencer has a primary and then a secondary platform. And that really is like, where do they have the most followers? So we'll try to get on their biggest platform. There are brands though that aren't present on TikTok, or it doesn't make sense for the brand, whatever the case may be. So they would be more traditional, like across Meta only, Instagram and Facebook. So typically they'll have both presences, but as a brand, they would want to try and get on the one that has the most followers. And then there can also be cross-posting. So you can have an influencer post on TikTok once and then post the same video on Instagram because it's the same type of format, if you will.
For anyone listening, I'm going to backtrack a little bit, but I would review a hot tub. If anyone wants to send me a free hot tub, I would review it.
Charles, we'll work on your influencer strategy.
Yes.
Elizabeth's like, you can do better.
Oh,
that's great.
I love it. So what about some of the tools that you use to find influencers or just find some of those data points, like looking at engagement and things like that? What are some of those tools that you use to look at some of that stuff?
So there are many tools out there. The company I work for, Influential, has a tool that they created that analyzes the audiences of influencers with IBM Watson. So we have an integration with IBM Watson that actually can look at the traits and the keywords and the photos of the influencer. And then that's the same tool that we use for like content management, getting influencer approvals, all of that. So they customized one. There are tons of tools out there that you can use to search for influencers and find them. And then as far as analyzing the audience, that's a really special selling point that Influential has, is that capability. I don't know other tools on the market that you're able to purchase to use them, but yeah, all of ours are internal made.
Okay. I mean, that's really interesting. Yeah.
I'd say that's an opportunity for other tools to step into that I
know.
That's great though.
And having like our agency, we don't sell the technology to brands. So we have to like be working with us on a campaign to have access to it. And then you can get SaaS access. But I think there are tools that you can just buy, like Canva or whatever else.
Are there any AI tools that are currently being integrated with any type of influencer marketing tools that you...
We're actually working on an integration right now with AI to vet influencers. So before we'll work with anyone, we do like a thorough vetting of all of their social media to make sure they haven't been controversial. And it depends on the brand, like the brand safety requirements that are needed. But we'll do a thorough search of all of that to make sure they haven't completely gotten canceled.
What would you say would be some high-level criteria for a brand to decide if they should use influencer marketing to sell their product or services. One of them being like, if they sell services, maybe an influencer marketing strategy is not for them. Things like that.
Yeah, I truly think that finding the right influencer is paramount, and then any brand could do it. It doesn't matter what the product or service is. You see it mainly B2C, not B2B. But there are spaces for that as well. If you were to work with an entrepreneur who's promoting like a tool that they use or something like that. So there are still ways in doing B2B. But I think that with the right creative in place, working with the right influencer, having the budget lined up accordingly, it would really work. I mean, even a small brand in Iowa, they could find local influencers. They could find like even local spokespeople. Maybe that looks like a city council member. Maybe that looks like something not traditional influencer marketing, but it's still leveraging their audience to promote your brand. So I think with the right strategy in place, anyone can do it.
I love that because obviously I am from Iowa and influencer marketing isn't as prevalent. So it's interesting that you say that because I know a lot of businesses don't really even look towards influencer marketing. They don't even consider it in their marketing tactics. And so I think it's a missed opportunity for them not reaching out even to the micro influencers that might be in Iowa.
Right. And with the use of paid media too, you can target the exact audience that you want. So say you only hire 2 influencers to do it, but then you put budget behind their post to target the exact demographic that you want in a certain area, demo, any detail that you want. So then you're leveraging their posts further to widen that. And I think it's a great way also to widen your market through paid media. So maybe you want to target those ads to the surrounding states or whatever it is. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And I would encourage any brand that's considering it to at least meet with someone, me or someone like me that has experience in this space and find out what a strategy for them could look like. And also analyzing like, where are you putting these dollars now? Is it on a TV commercial? Because that's probably not performing as well as it did 10 years ago. So looking at where are these marketing dollars going? Because every brand's doing it. It's just a matter of where it's going to, and then maybe reanalyzing how that should look for them.
Yeah. When you have an influencer and you have them create posts and stuff for you, is part of the contract that you have for them that they give you some sort of analytics or reports or something like that on how the post performed?
That's such a good question. Yes. So we bake into the contracts with creators that they must share with us their story metrics and then also like the back end video metrics that they see that aren't public. And then when we're working with a client, we provide them a full end of campaign recap. So we're sharing with them how each creative piece performed, what influencer performed the highest, who performed the lowest, why we think this may be. And then they're able to take those learnings and apply them for future campaigns. So influencers will share with us all of their data and then we'll wrap that up in a pretty little report for them and take them through and then apply all of that knowledge either for their future or other future campaigns that we do.
Yeah.
This is going to be more of a juicy question. What types of influencers are the hardest to work with?
Ooh, I would say anyone in the entertainment music space for me has been challenging. But with that said, 98% of the talent I've worked with have been amazing. The most professional. They want to do a good job for the brand. They want the brand to love them. They want future deals. They take a lot of pride in their content and the work that they're putting out. So usually it's great. You have the diva time to time, but that's to be expected. And, we deal with it and we make decisions in the moment and that are best for the client. So that can happen, but that happens with anyone, any industry.
Oh yeah. We've had our fair share of bad clients and bad decisions on our part too. So
exactly. They're learning moments, You learn and put them on the do not work list.
Do you have any clients that are disappointed in the efforts of what the influencer marketing did, and how do you handle that?
Yeah, definitely. That comes up time and time again. So there's a few things. You can have them reshoot the content. Maybe it was just poor execution. They didn't follow the brief. It was half effort and we need something different. So we would just share that feedback with them, ask that they reshoot the content. If they did something or aren't able to move forward with the campaign for whatever reason, then we'll cancel the contract with them. There are many different solutions you can do. You can also, if you have 3 creators in a campaign and one is a bad egg for some reason, have the other 2 create additional content in place of the third. So there are always solutions to work around that. And what we try to do with clients is just be as proactive as possible in providing what we think is the best way to move forward, whether that's not working with this person at all, or if we think there's something salvageable here.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love the solutionary approach because we constantly do that too. We're like, all right, we got to pivot.
Yeah,
exactly. And you don't want to go to them with just the problem, right? You want to go to them with the problem and then 3 viable solutions, and then they can go from there.
Yeah, here's the problem, but here's all the options for how we can solve it. Yeah,
exactly. And the unique thing about influencer marketing too is it's a people business, right? We're all humans. They could have a family emergency, something happens, they're not able to meet a deadline. So you have to keep that in mind. And what we're always trying to express to the clients too is we're all humans here. This isn't a piece of technology or a banner ad. It's a real person that has other things going on in their life that sometimes can throw off our plans. But knowing that there are ways to be flexible and get through it is what's most important.
Yeah. Yeah. What's been some of your favorite creative that you've gotten to build out of this influencer marketing industry?
The past year, I've had the opportunity to be a part of some partnerships that involve New York Fashion Week, the Ryder Cup in Rome, Formula One in Vegas, and then most recently at the Grammys. So I've gotten the opportunity to send influencers to these amazing events. They go, they capture content and share it for the brand. And that has been really incredible. So it's 3 or 4 days of very intense work. A lot of planning, months of planning go into these 3 or 4 days. And then you get there and it's like, there's events, there's dinners, there's like the main event, you know, like the Grammys, and then but all of these surrounding moments that they're capturing content throughout. So that's been a really memorable part of it, is being a part of these huge partnerships that they get to do. And then I've also worked across many different verticals. So on luxury auto brands where we're sending a car to an influencer to keep for a week and create content with it. New clothing brands, so then you're seeding product to them to wear and promote it. Many different cool things, and every vertical has its special ways of working. So I do feel honored to have gained experience across these different areas. Right now I'm in hospitality, which has been really fun too, but I've quite enjoyed all of it. And I think that you learn a little bit about the different influencers in all of these spaces as well.
I joke with Liz because I just came off of the NBA All-Star weekend and people are walking around with their cameras following them.
Wow.
I was like accidentally a part of some of the influencer things. I was like, oh, I'm just here to play basketball. And I realized my teammates are all influencers after the game. And meanwhile, I'm like, like a fireball, or like I look back and I'm like, oh, you guys are kind of big time.
But they all are now, aren't they? Chelsea, college would have been so different for you had this been the case.
Bro.
Think about how much money you made.
I would be filthy rich.
That's wild.
I was joking with Ryan. We were talking about the NIL stuff, and I told him, I was like, I was on the Colbert Show where he made a comment about there's no stopping Poppins. I'm like, I would have been viral, babe. I would have been viral.
No, you would have had TikTok fan pages, all of it.
All of it.
I know, with that red hair too, it would have been so good.
It's just timing. Chelsea, I could have been famous.
It's not too late. We can still do this for you. We can still do this.
Right.
I'm not sure about that.
You literally own a marketing company. We can do this for you.
I know, right?
It's not too late.
I don't think I have quite the personality for influencer marketing.
We don't need a personality.
I know all of our careers might have looked very different if we were on social media throughout all of college doing all of the things.
Yes. Elizabeth, since you know so much about influencer marketing, have you ever thought about converting all those skills to your own personal brand?
My own. It's funny you say that because recently I have wanted to start posting more, but
you don't post at all.
Not enough. Not really to get followers or anything like that, but more just to like have a presence online, because I do think that's important, is to have people know what you're up to, or you never know. So whether that's on LinkedIn more or Instagram more, yes, I have recently thought about building more posts on those profiles, but do I have interest in like being an influencer? Not really. I like my side of the business. So I'll stay over here in my quiet, nice, pleasant life. So
is it kind of like taking work home with you? For instance, if you've been cleaning a house all day, you don't want to clean your own house.
I think so. Yeah. But it's a lot. If you really are serious about becoming an influencer, like it's a full-time job. The way that they go about it is so impressive. And then also the skills that you have to acquire too, like editing, filming, short form video editing. It's a whole thing. So I'm not there, but that's why also I have such admiration for influencers that crush it, because the amount of work that they put into these, whether it's deals or just their own videos, is just, it's wild. And they have whole teams behind them too. Very few of them are operating on their own.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting, those people who hire a creator to follow them around through the day in order to get this content. But I roomed with, I'll do a little shout out, Hannah O'Flynn. She's an influencer for, she used to be with Wilson. I think she's just working with a bunch of different other companies and businesses right now. But she was up to like 3 a.m. editing video for the week.
Wow.
The amount of effort and work to get that content and edit it and then keep it flowing. Like you said, it is a full-time job. And I don't think that's the lifestyle for me, but like kudos to the people that do it, because it's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, okay. One last question.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to someone if they were interested in becoming an influencer?
Post every day and find a niche. That's would be my top ones. When you hear about these influencers that really blow up, many of them speak about posting 6 to 8 times a day, and then having a very specific, whether that's an editing style or something you do or talk about or an interest. I think that helps as well, but it's the consistency that will do it. And I think you just keep going with it and it will slowly build and build. But stay consistent.
6 to 8 times a day?
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
No, and then engaging with everyone that reaches out. It's just, it is a lot.
I would not socialize in person if all I was doing was socializing with people online.
I know.
Oh.
Why it's a full-time job.
I love that. Cool. Well, I think we covered a lot, and I think we can probably wrap this up, but so much information that I've never even, you work in a different world of things, and with the verticals of everything, it's so crazy. Especially, I think there's so much opportunity for the Midwest people who are looking for influencers in their area. Obviously, California, New York, all those coastal cities are utilizing those kind of platforms and have a bigger pool of people to tap into. But so great having you on today, Elizabeth.
Thanks for joining us.
Any other tidbits you want to add? Any golden nuggets or hidden pearls you want to?
No, but it's been such a pleasure, you guys. This was so fun. And I hope that your audience can take some information away and reach out if anyone has questions or wants strategy in place. Like, we can do it. So it's an amazing, interesting industry and always evolving. So changing with different platforms and video format, all of it, always changing. So gotta stay in the know.
Well, if you like this podcast, like, share, follow, leave us some feedback. All of Elizabeth's information will be in the show notes, and any way you want to reach out to her, we'll have that contact information in there. So have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks.